Hello, and welcome to this panel discussion as part of the 2020 HR Technology Conference. I'm Kristen Hines, a Managing Director in Accenture's talent organization, Human Potential Practice. As we navigate our way through an unimaginable social and economic crisis, we are seeing a shift in employee sentiment. Employees are now holding their employers accountable for their emotional well-being. As a result, a new type of leadership has emerged. A new breed of CHRO working across their organization to create change, and it has demonstrated positive results for both the employee and the business. We will share key findings from Accenture's newest research paper called Care to Do Better, where we reveal a new definition of value rising from an HR-led organization that is intelligent, collaborative, and caring. We will share key practices you need now to focus on the needs of your worker and the leadership mindset and transparency required. We will provide practical applications for workforce planning and analytics, what is needed now and next, and how to go about it. And we will share the ways in which digital HR needs to be built as a fit-for-purpose technology ecosystem. We know it's a difficult time. However, we will focus on specific actions your company can take now to impact your employees and your customers and to see double-digit growth in your business. Joining me today for this exciting panel discussion are four of my colleagues and friends. Eva Sage-Gavin is the Global Senior Managing Director of Accenture's talent and organization Human Potential Practice. Eva has spent 30 plus years in corporate America, working in consumer and technology in leadership roles such as CHRO for Fortune 500 companies, and she sat on 3 technology boards. Eva has been honored as a top 100 HR tech influencer by HR Executive for shaping the world and future of HR technology. Barbara Spitzer is Accenture's Global People Experience and Modern HR lead. Barbara's professional mission is to help organizations be places where people can learn, grow, and be fulfilled. Camille Prost is a managing director in our talent organization, Human Potential Practice, and he leads Accenture's digital HR advisory. Russell Klosk is a principal director in our talent organization, Human Potential Practice. Russell is a certified HR executive with expertise in strategic workforce planning and analytics. Eva, I'll come to you first. You spend lots of time in the market talking about and framing the HR technology and landscape in which we're operating and staying really attuned to what's top of mind for CHROs. I'd love if you could set the context for us in the big picture environment in which we find ourselves operating today.
Kristen, thanks so much. It is great to be here. And, as you said so beautifully, I have been a client in consumer and tech businesses and tech boards, and now leading Accenture's talent organization and human potential practice. I have the best job. I get to roll up my sleeves and I get to work with C-suite leaders, many of whom face the challenges that I needed help with. Today I'm going to share a few things with you, both what we're hearing and seeing firsthand, but also some breakthrough research we've done, Kristen, as you mentioned earlier, that really starts to shed light on the things that matter and navigating these times. I think it goes without saying that none of us have faced anything like the beginning of this new decade and how 2020 has started for us. And most of us couldn't have imagined a year ago that we would be facing the conditions that we are facing in the last 7 months. So I guess one way to look at it is there's no playbook. On the other hand, a way to look at it is it's a time for incredible problem solving, creativity, and social innovation. So let me start with the first promise I made, which is what are the big meta themes we're seeing and how can that be helpful to each of you as you navigate brand new challenges, new opportunities, and this really tough time. The second thing I'll do is pop into the research. So let's step back for a second and talk about the shifts that we're seeing and just for a second ground ourselves. I know sometimes we're so busy in the day-to-day, it's easy to miss the fact that these are the big things we see happening. We've been able to do some great research looking at this whole idea of the pandemic and post-pandemic economy predictions. First of all, did you know, Kristen, that 47% of all workers are saying their job has changed dramatically as a result of the pandemic? 47% of the workers we surveyed. In the past, we saw shifts that were more less dramatic, and the speed at which the changes have occurred has been extraordinary. The other idea here is work from home or elastic digital workplace. In the past, we saw from our survey about 34% of workers were working in some kind of a flex arrangement or remotely work from home or a hybrid. That figure now is nearly 60%. We also learned that 50% of the workers are also involved in some kind of an upskilling or new skilling. So think about all of us with the shifts to virtual communications for the bulk of our work days. We've all been learning brand new things at lightning speed. So this idea of listening to workers, what is the reality that they're facing, these big shifts where many CEOs have said to me, what I would have done over a 6-year period, I have had to do over a 6-month period. And that brings us to then what are the things that matter? We did some very extensive research. We call it Care to Do Better. We talked to over 3,200 senior execs, over 15,000 workers. We touched in 15 industries. We covered 10 countries. And what we learned is there are 20 practices that leaders can take, but you know what? There's only 5 that matter and make a breakthrough difference, especially in these difficult times. The idea here is pretty simple. To unlock people's full potential, to connect with them fully, you need to leave them net better off. So are they better today by connected with your company or your organization than they were before they were associated with you? If you think about it and get it really simple, it has 6 different dimensions. Pretty clear. Emotional and mental is 1, relational is 2, physical, financial, purposeful, and employable. Do you know that 64% of a person's potential is now defined by their ability to use their skills and their strengths at work? And that's going to influence how they feel across these 6 dimensions. People want to bring their best, and that's what Net Better Off is about. We also found that it's not just about the individuals feeling net better off, it also drives business value. So it's about people and businesses being net better off. We found out that 78% of workers feel their employees should look at them as a whole person and care about them. That we also found out that about half of the CXOs we talked to for the research thought the same. And before the pandemic, only 35% thought that it was their responsibility or that they should be accountable for leaving people net better off. So that's a change. We're also seeing this show up day to day. And I'd like to call out a couple of examples. Our friends at Cisco pledged $100 million to further social justice causes. And just last month, they announced a whole series of pledges and action items about equal rights, about diversity, about pay parity. If you haven't had a chance, take a look at their social justice belief and actions, and you'll see their level of commitment. I talked about social innovation, and I talked about the things that matter. Let me leave you with an example of collaboration and thinking in brand new ways. And this particular collaboration is called People Plus Work Connect. This is a free analytics-based platform. It was hosted and developed by Accenture, but with 4 chief HR officers from Lincoln Financial, ServiceNow, of course, our own friends at Accenture, and Verizon. And what these 4 chief HR officers did is they looked at the ability to connect people who have workforces that are impacted and losing jobs, and CHROs who have workforces that have to scale up. 2 simple examples. Marriott in the hospitality industry has had a lot of impact, and they have had to furlough workers. Walmart has increased dramatically their direct to home delivery, and they've had to scale up. So this whole idea about this is a challenging time, but there are a handful of things that matter, and taking care of your people, showing compassion, and thinking about all of their needs is really high impact. The second is you can do 6 years of digital advancements and human advancements in 6 months, and social innovations like People Plus Work Connect can break through and help people create a skills passport for themselves or organization to organization to be able to find new careers in industries that are growing. So, Kristen, I'm going to stop there. I'm so happy to be here on this panel, but I think the whole idea is that we are here to serve you. We are here to give you insights that take the best of technology, the best of our human capability, and they break through to leave not only people net better off, but also leave our businesses, community, and society net better off. So, Kristen, back to you.
Eva, really appreciated that context setting. And I think, two things that really stood out to me that I will ask then our panelists to weave in as we get to that dialogue is this concept of there is no playbook. And so how are we being responsive right now in the environment in which we are? And a takeaway from that for me is the CHRO has never been better positioned to be the catalyst for such meaningful change. And so how do we build on this time of trust with our people and focusing on what matters to them to take advantage of the business value that we can create through leaving people net better off? And I know in our research, we highlighted that companies that care to do better, demonstrate caring for workers is good for business in the sense that it can help drive at least 5% plus growth. And I know in this time of value and focus on value and speed to value, bringing your employees along on that journey is as important now as it's ever been. So thank you for setting that context. And Barbara, if I could come to you next, I'm curious now in this context setting which we have, what's your take on what this means for HR and HR-enabled transformation?
Thank you, Kristen. Again, I'm Barbara Spitzer. I run Accenture's Modern HR People Experience Capability area. And the mission that she described to you, I set back when I was about 25 years old, and I'm pretty blown away that even now it's still something that I really care about. It really matters today. Yeah, so I want to talk about what this means for HR. Right now, I'm seeing 3 types of HR, 3 roles for HR. By the way, it's not or, there's an and in here, but it's intelligent HR, collaborative HR, and caring HR. So let me start with the intelligent HR. What is intelligent HR? It is a function that is fueled by data and is rich in unexpected insights. And that requires HR to have adopted digital technology, data, and analytics. What's being asked of HR is to build that social, mobile, multi-speed employee experience to sort out the human and machine impact on work, which, by the way, is not the future of work. It's actually here right now. And then to really think about how to take the work and take that which is execution-oriented, automate it, that which is intelligent-oriented, augment it with AI, and that which is strategy, really make the humans really able to work at that higher level of performance. The last thing intelligent HR does is it builds a partner ecosystem. Technology is moving so fast. The kinds of capabilities that HR needs to bring to the business are ever changing and ever increasing. So if you think about an example about why HR needs an ecosystem, say a major company wants to build a new employment model around gig workers. So they want to offer to recruits and even their existing workforce the opportunity to come in and move from project to project, have that experience of learning, variety, challenges, and different types of work. A new capability is needed within HR to actually deliver that employee experience and to deliver that ambition, a talent marketplace. So you think, how do you build a talent marketplace? Companies like Gloat, that's what they specialize in. Skyhive, Eva mentioned, they provide a skills passport for people. So they actually have in their passport, what are the skills, where are they going to travel to next, how can they actually apply those skills elsewhere? Or Eightfold, AI-driven skills analysis. So HR has to have an app, the data, the software, the HR skill sets, the mindset among managers to actually want to work within a gig-oriented workforce, training and policies, et cetera. So no HR department can tomorrow build this talent marketplace capability. So also, if you're a big company, some of these very entrepreneurial, interesting startups probably would love to have your logo on their website. And so build some relationships, do some experiments, test it out, fix it, scale it if it works. So that's just an example of the importance of an intelligent HR that really has that partner ecosystem to build this capability. The last part of it is the operating model. You know, the HR operating model should start with the capabilities that you need to build, like in the example I just gave, and then what are the products and services that need to be delivered to build the employee experience. That then informs an operating model and really creates a living, fluid HR. So the second one was a collaborative HR. You know, employee experience is not just about the human experience, it's about the digital and the physical. And we're seeing today now more than ever, HR has been called on to really rise to the occasion in response to the remote work or keeping field workers, people who have to be on the front line, safe and healthy. So a collaboration across the organization with IT, facilities, finance is ever essential. So on external collaboration, there's one more thing that's coming. It's the SEC 10K rules change around whether or not companies should disclose human capital metrics. It's about giving investors a sense of investment worthiness. Companies no longer just about physical assets, they're about human assets. Investors want to know whether or not companies have the right human capital metrics, measurements, culture, leadership, etc. It's about transparency and accountability. It is not if it's going to happen, it's a matter of when. And the last thing is caring HR. Eva talked about that with the Net Better Off research. You know, wellness is not just a gym membership or a good healthcare benefit. It's how do people work? When do they work? Where do they work? How can they take care of their health as we're dealing with this new way of working? Finance, financial well-being. It's not just total rewards. It's pay equity. It's a living wage. It's all those other bigger things. And then lastly, employability. The Marriott story. I mean, if you furlough your employees, companies need to really build their alumni network into a whole different thing so they can keep in touch with those people because the economy will get better and they will need that talent again. So all of this is wrapped around the need for companies to really listen to their employees and hear what they need. So there's a lot being asked of HR right now, but I actually find it truly exciting. In closing, if you want to build your HR power skills, one of our ecosystem partners is the Josh Bersin Academy. We just completed building a course called Resilient HR. In this course, you get to hear from HR leaders about how they broke rules to build a more resilient organization during the initial lockdown, work from home, taking care of frontline workers. So it's all about human resilience today. So Camille, over to you.
Thank you, Barbara. I'm really honored to be part of this panel with wonderful colleagues here. So digital has never been as critical to the HR function as it is today, and it represents a true enabler to this Net Better Off framework. We see many HR organizations doubling down on building digital muscles to benefit from the value of innovative HR technologies. And beyond just automation, the real value of digital HR technology lies in three key areas: connectivity, opportunity, and visibility. Connectivity is about fostering interactions between people across the organization, but also reconnecting people with themselves by improving mental resilience. Opportunity is about creating growth options for people inside and outside the enterprise. And visibility is about exposing data insights for effective decision-making. So to deliver this value successfully to the organization, HR and IT need to construct a fit-for-purpose digital core, which is essentially, as you laid it out, Barbara, an integrated ecosystem of HR technology partners, including platforms, but also specialized solutions. So one important point I want to make here is that the brain of this digital core is going to be increasingly powered by artificial intelligence. And as we think about making people net better off, leveraging a digital core, it is key to select and orchestrate HR technologies which align to the organization's definition of responsible AI to fairly impact employees and develop trust. Now, the digital core is not a static engine, and continuous innovation through purposeful experiments will make it more resilient and adaptive. This is what Accenture calls the living systems approach to digital innovation. A great example of what we've recently done from a living systems approach in HR is how we've helped a global consumer goods company run an HR innovation ecosystem challenge. We invited select HR technology vendors to demonstrate their innovative capabilities to solve 4 real-world HR challenges. So, for example, recruiting top performers, seamless onboarding, etc. And the winning solutions in each category were then experimented as pilots before going through deployment at scale. In the recruiting space, for example, we were able to achieve a reduction of 60% in time to screen candidates through this experiment-based approach. So back to the net better off framework, I'd like to give a few quick examples of how digital core can enable the dimensions that Eva and Barbara you talked about. On the employable dimension, there are many digital enablers that can help employees with new skilling and career growth opportunities. Barbara, you talked about SkyHive as a workforce reskilling platform, but also learning experience platforms like Degreed. You mentioned Gloat also as the talent marketplace solutions. Candidate assessment solutions like Pymetrics, they all contribute to augmenting the human potential. At Accenture, we have a global technology upskilling initiative called TQ for Technology Quotient, enabled by the Pluralsight learning solution. And the idea behind TQ is to make our entire workforce fully conversant with the latest technology trends. On the relational dimension, conversational AI recruiting solutions and digital onboarding solutions provide new ways for candidates and new joiners to interact with organizations, better understand where they could fit, and build human connections early on. Looking at virtual onboarding, we have clients who use solutions like ServiceNow or Enborder to amplify the sense of belonging and engagement of new joiners. Pre-day one, new joiners can get to know their future colleagues and onboarding cohort through welcome messages or short videos as examples. Now, on the emotional and mental dimension, HR organizations have increased their focus on digital wellness solutions as well as employee listening solutions to help employees with mental resilience and health. As an example, some of our clients use Thrive Global, which is a solution that recommends daily micro steps and help reduce stress, increase well-being, and maximize productivity. So to conclude, I will say that in the near future, we should expect even more AI in digital HR technology and even more collaboration between the human and the digital workforces. So as you are trying to solve for the net better off equation, capitalize on your digital core and always innovate with purpose to expand digital capabilities. Now I'm going to hand over to Russell, who will talk about shaping the future workforce. Russell, over to you.
Thank you. And I will join my colleagues and friends here in saying that it is an honor just to share a stage with them. But I'd also like to thank all of you for giving of your time. We know you have a lot of places to get information, and we certainly all realize how busy everyone is these past 6 months, and that you're taking time to listen to us and to hear the stories of what we're seeing in the marketplace and trying to find ways to bring that back to your workplace is a great honor to all of us. What I'd like to say is that what we're going to talk about in terms of digitization and what we're seeing in these trends in humanization, they're not new things. People have been drawn to HR for decades because they wanted to do right by people. And the digital tools that we're starting to see come online, That's also been decades of trends moving up to that. And over the last 2 or 3 years, almost everyone in this room has started to invest in collecting the data sets necessary for AI to do what it does. What we have seen is how are these trends being used differently? What I mean by that, strategic workforce planning is not a new trend. Companies have been seeking competitive advantage and to optimize how they spend their talent strategy dollars for years by saying, what skills do I need 2, 3, 4 years down the road? How is my marketplace going to change? Where can I better use contingent labor or outsourcing providers to allow me to focus on my core? What work should be done where? Those are all the same problems that we see today, but what we're seeing is the use of this data and more powerful analytics engines brought to bear that allow me to model what-if scenarios. What if I want to increase my employee experience, as we're seeing from the study that we just released? What if I'm more concerned with how I present myself to my customers and less concerned if it's the most economically efficient way to deliver it? I'm after the long-term relationship, not the immediate gain. All of those type of things are done in workforce planning. They're done with advanced analytics. And so companies that have invested of late to move to the cloud, to move to some of these more advanced HR systems and have been collecting massive amounts of data, it's how do they use that data in a different way? So one of the biggest trends we've seen is taking systems that have analytic agents that were designed around reporting and designed around compliance. I'm not saying that those things aren't important, but how can I take that and move from predictive to prescriptive to proactive analytics? How can I build models out that allow me to do forecasting of my workforce, not from the top down to say how many headcount do I have to budget for tomorrow or next year or the year after, but which skills are going to change as I bring RPA into my transactional activities? And just as importantly, when are they going to change? If I know when they're going to change and what they're going to change to, then I have more deliberate ability to both spend where the money will be best used, but also to make the experience enjoyable to the employees so that they will appreciate not just the reskilling, but that they'll apply it to their jobs. Those trends are accelerated through third-party platforms, such as Visier, but there are others, Optech, others that are in this room today. They're also accelerated through some of the AI technologies that Camille just brought up. One of the most expensive things HR departments has ever done is try and build competency libraries and skill profiles for people, not because it's not important, but because it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to maintain. Well, companies like Skyhive and Eightfold and others are using their AI technologies to seamlessly do views of what is the capabilities of my workforce, where do people have skills, not just what do I know about them, but if I pointed at LinkedIn and other places where they've talked about their past experiences, what can I extrapolate out of that? And then I can catalog it. And if I can catalog it, I can run it against my forecast models. We have clients that have evolved their organizational design and used workforce planning to accelerate what I would loosely refer to as the sweet spot. We all have personal ambitions. We all want our careers to grow. We all want to make more money and enhance our professional abilities. If I was to plot that on a graph, it's not going to look like a line going straight up. We also have life experiences and different things that cause us to step off of that path, and everyone suffers setbacks from now and again. And so typically that line would look like a stock chart and with peaks and valleys. What if I could plot against the other axis what the business need is? Which is also going to have peaks and valleys. And so I don't end up with a straight line, but I end up with this cloud that's in the middle of it. And if we think of that cloud as a sweet spot, we can use workforce planning and we can use advanced analytics capabilities to plot where those two things intersect. And if I'm able to help you as an employee in a bespoke manner keep yourself in that cloud, your career is going to grow at a faster pace, and all of those things that fit your ambitions are going to be there. And at the same time, the business is going to be able to meet the needs of its customers and the needs of its employees and the needs of its shareholders. And it's not that it's a perfect system, and it's not that everyone stays inside that cloud all the time, but workforce planning and analytics at this point in time are starting to allow us to model better how we can keep people there for as long as possible. And when they come out of it, help them get back into it. And how do careers change? And what used to be traditional career ladders, and then we came up with dual career paths, are now lattice networks and fluid workforces. And your job is no longer I become an HR associate, and then I become an HR generalist, and then I become an HR business partner, and then I move into a COE and develop a specialization, and on up to the CHRO. You may find your specialization and your passion sooner, and it may cut across multiple functions. Maybe you're a deep analytics person. Well, HR analytics are different from finance analytics or different from supply chain analytics, but the core competencies and capabilities you need to do them are the same. And so what's to say your career path has to be from one department to another lateral or within one department vertical? Why can't I do multiple pieces of those jobs at the same time and have a more rewarding career doing the things I'm passionate about and that keep to my own personal ambitions while also meeting the company's needs in a more fluid and flexible manner? So as we've looked at what's going on in the trends, and if we've looked at what's coming out of these studies that say human resources is trying to be, for lack of a better term, more human and more caring, absolutely. So let's model it. Let's say, what if we do this? What happens to our workforce? What if we do that? What happens to our workforce? And we build it from the bottom up, and we say, finance has different priorities than operations, and operations has different priorities than sales, and sales has different priorities than procurement, and that's how it should be. We're all after a different piece of how do we optimize our own individual departments, but we're all after it in the framework of how do we enable the business to achieve what it needs to achieve for its employees, for its customers, for its shareholders. And when we do that, we create a better place to work, and we attract higher quality talent, and we retain higher quality talent, and the business results follow. And that takes us back to what Kristen opened with, which is how can we build sustainable models using the tools, the technology, the moment in time that we're in to best advantage and turn it to a positive rather than a negative to drive 5 to 10% growth for companies that are able to take advantage and model those what-if scenarios. That doesn't mean there won't be downturns. It doesn't mean some industries won't suffer more than others, but it will get better. Mankind, if nothing, is resilient and will survive and find a way to adapt, and business will find a way to adapt and is already doing so. And those that will emerge on top, if we look 6 months down the road, 12 months down the road, 18 months down the road, are the ones right now that are saying, what if we do this and what's the effect a year and a half from now? And what if we do that and what's the effect from a year from now? And I don't need to actually do it. I can model it, and then I can make informed data-driven decisions with all this data that I've already been collecting for the past few years. And that's available in the world at large. And I can design new job taxonomies, and I can design future workforce, and I can design reskilling that's delivered at scale and helps my people be what the world's going to need 2 years from now and helps make it a better place. And I'll leave you with that thought, but that's how you get to 5 to 10% growth. And so I'll use that as my pass back to Kristen.
Thank you to our panelists. This was a really enriching discussion that I enjoyed, and I hope you all found valuable. To kind of summarize our time here, I'll hit a couple of points from each of our panelists. So Eva set us out for the context of the net better off model, which enables individuals to work at their full potential. And it allows them to feel greater purpose at a time when many are seeking more. The 6 dimensions are employable, financial, relational, physical, purposeful, emotional, and mental. Our research shows leaving people better off can help organizations drive growth in a period when most businesses are being significantly challenged. Barbara then shared with us the impacts on HR, the expectations of being intelligent, collaborative, and caring. There are new capabilities needed to deliver as an intelligent HR, and it's not about the future of work because that work is taking place now. Collaboration internally across other functions is essential, and it's also equally important to have collaboration externally, as the brand and being a brand ambassador matters now more than ever. And caring is more than just physical wellness. It requires employers to listen to their employees and what they really need. Camille shaped for us what the digital landscape looks like for HR, and digital has never been more important than it is today. The real value lies in 3 key areas: connectivity, opportunity, and visibility. Connectivity across the organization and also within the individual to help them drive through resilience, opportunity for growth for the employees and for the business, and then visibility, taking the data insights to drive more effective decision-making. And it's now more important than ever to stay laser focused on the net better off dimensions to guide investment in innovation and technology. And then Russell helped frame for us the landscape for workforce planning and analytics, which aren't new trends. However, the technology and data available today is creating space for what-if planning such that it can align business needs and employee skills and experience to drive better results and a better experience. Making people net better off requires more than imaginative practices and policies. It means putting care and compassion at the heart of the work experience and building trust through transparency. And there is no better time than now to do so. Eva, if I could, I'd like to turn to you to close us out with how we could put all of this into action.
Kristen, thanks so much. You know, listening to all our panelists and my colleagues, I was in the audience as a CHRO, and I often left these conferences thinking, what are the breakthrough things that can help me today, tomorrow, and to be more effective? And I just walked away with one thought I'd love to leave. You know, we have faced crises before. Many of us have talked about 2009, and that was the era of the CFO. Here we are in 2020, and what I'm hearing and what I believe is true is that this is our best moment for HR and technology to come together and to make big strategic things happen to really navigate uncertainty. And there was one thing that stood out that I'd love to leave you with as an idea, a practice, a tool. This idea about we are being asked to be champions of well-being, champions of inclusion, champions of equality. And safety and relationships have never been more important. But guess what? There's an opportunity for us to lead. And our research that Kristen mentioned on Care to Do Better, only 17% of the organization said they thought they were leading in this way. And you know, of the workers we listened to, they said that they would give 94%. So 94% of them said that they would give their very best if they felt that their entire opportunities and their whole self were welcomed. So that's my call to action. As you leave here today with all the great information that's been shared, we can make a difference. There's huge opportunity for improvement. Yes, in tough, difficult times, it is time for us to lead the way. And 2020 and the years ahead can be the years that we look back and say, wow, thank goodness for HR, for technology, and a way to navigate a period in human history that none of us had ever faced before. So thanks so much.
We would welcome the opportunity to continue the dialogue, so please meet us at our online booth.